This little instructional video is part of a series of videos that I'm putting together in order to assist people in their practice. This is applicable to you whether you're starting out in your yoga or whether you'd like to just check in and do a little bit of fine-tuning. Today's little video is going to be about how do we use our hands. As Vinyasa practitioners, as Ashtanga practitioners, and even in the use of the Hatha yoga system, we are looking at substituting, often enough, our hands for our feet. This is obvious in something like a downward facing dog, an upward dog, a chaturanga, an Ashtanga namaskar, and obviously in something like an arm balance or in handstands. Because we actually use our hands a lot, it's fundamental that we actually know how to use them. If we don't know how to use them, it can lead to injury, and it also can lead to a failure to maximise our strength and the abilities within our bodies to apply that strength that we have. When we look at the use of our hands functionally, what we find is that we tend to externally rotate a lot. So whether this is turning a door handle, or whether it's using a tap, so as we turn a tap on, we tend to turn towards the little finger. When we go to turn a tap off, we very rarely do this to turn a tap off. We tend to swap hands and again go towards the rotation of the little finger. As a result of this, we do build up an imbalance in the arm, and particularly in the lower arm muscles. And this can then translate into our yoga practice. When we apply the weight and the pressure that we do in a yoga practice to our hands, we inevitably lead to injury in this area of the wrist. And even if you don't get to injury, you're actually going to get an element of discomfort. And I see this a lot with beginners as they start to learn how to use their hands and how to break those patterns that they have from their everyday lives. So how do we use the hands? Fundamentally, we have to look at the hand. So the hand obviously has fingers and a thumb, pretty obvious. It also has pads to the fingers, at the base of the fingers in the palm, and also has a pad here. When we're looking at what do we do in a yoga practice, we have a look at the L of the hand. It's quite fundamental in what we use, and also the energy that comes out through the little finger. When we place our hand on the floor, we want our hands to be spread evenly, and we want the wrist to be in alignment with the elbow. So we're not doing this or this, because again, that's going to give us tendencies towards excess weight on either this side or this side. So the thing that we really look at is this L as well. So the L in the hand is a grounding force. So just as we would use the ball of a big toe to ground our feet, and that will be another practice tip that we'll come up with later on, we also want to look at this in the hand. So if this is our grounder, this is our light, and this is our fireworks that gives us the energy that we need in order to connect through the rest of the body. Myofascially, we have a connection in the hand to the spinal bind. So practitioners often find that when they do find their hands, they find a lot more power through their bodies. They don't know why, but it is a sense of, So let's have a look at how we use the hand. So when we take it to the floor, what we want to do is we want to place the hand steadily on the floor. We want to ground through the ball of the index finger, the ball of the thumb. We then fire through the little finger, and you can see that this then creates a sense of, rather than the hand being this way, which is what would happen under normal circumstances if we were to follow our tendencies to do this. Usually when we put ourselves under pressure, if we haven't conditioned ourselves to use this technique, this will happen in hand balances and will lead to, firstly, instability in your practice, but also injury. If we're to apply this then to a posture, we can have a look at a downward facing dog. So, we power through the balls of the fingers and the L. We find the fireworks through the little finger, which is then going to create an openness through the shoulder and an activation in a way, in a manner, in the serratus anterior, which is a muscle that's based under here. So we find that, push, we take it back, and we find that downward facing dog. Again, there's this focus of coming in, and then with the fire of the little finger, we take it out. And of course, we want to be careful that we don't overdo the internal rotation, because if we do, we tend to do this. We bring the upper trapezius up around the ears, and of course, that's going to cause us stress. And if we have enough of that in everyday life, we don't need to bring it to the yoga mat. So ultimately, what we're looking at when we're looking at these sort of techniques is how do we ensure that we're safe on the mat, that we have a practice that connects our breath and our body in a way that will one day lead us to being able to practice until we're 90.